wait and see. And then I saw that the State Department have announcement that have American citizens just leave Iran as soon as possible. Just go, leave there. And I also watched another news said that a lot of airplane has been canceled. So maybe they need to try to go through some buses, some boat, I don't know. Maybe airplane is not a good idea right now. So they're trying to escape to Turkey or Armenia. So it
Yeah,
seems like everything is yeah, it's a very serious.
right.
Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cheyenne's Forum. Today is January 13th, and here is my dear friend Tom. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so nice to see you here, Tom. Before we start, we have a big news today. And before we start, I'd like to introduce Tom, my dear friend. He worked in FBI for 30 years, and he worked as assistant director of FBI for 5 years, and he's retired now. And Tom, again, thank you so much for your service and for you take your time to come to our podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. So the first thing first, the situation in Iran. I actually it's changing hourly. I heard Mr. Trump, President Trump said he has got the report hourly about what happened in Iran. And about 3 hours ago, he posted something and said that the support is on the way. He said, Iran patriot, keep protesting, take over your institutions, save the name of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of the protesters stop. Help is on its way. Make Iran great again. So, what is your yeah, your thought about that? How things will go with Iran? What do you think?
Well, I'm just as curious as everyone to see what gets decided, what Trump's actually going to do
Uh-huh.
to make Iran great again, or establish the peace, or protect the protesters. But the key thing for Iran, from a U.S. perspective and from a Western perspective, is that the regime has to be taken out.
Hmm.
The Ayatollah, the other mullahs, they have to be out, and the power of the people of Iran needs to be restored.
Thank you, thank you. 所以我先跟大家来在中文翻译一下，就是我们谈到伊朗的一个问题啊，就是现在伊朗的事情是每个小时都有变化。那川普总统也每个小时都接到伊朗的一个关于伊朗问题的一个报告。那他在大概3个小时之前贴出了一个贴文，那这个贴文就是说，伊朗的爱国者们，请你们继续来抗争跟游行，把你们的国家机构，就是占领国家机构哈，他实际上是在号召了。然后把这一些坏人、杀人者的名字记下来，他们会付出沉重的代价。我已经跟这个伊朗所有官员的会议，全部就是取消了，直到他们停止在伊朗这个杀人，那就是这个帮助。正在赶来的路上，就是帮助马上就要到了。最后呢，就是让伊朗再次伟大。所以我问 Tom 这个事情，大家会觉得说，会发展成是什么情况啊？那Tom 就说呢，我们要来看说，最终美国决定用什么样的方式去参与进去。那但是有一个前提是，他这个政权必须要走，那这个政权必须回到人民的手中。那我忘记介绍一下 Tom 哈，我非常好的朋友，他也是在美国 FBI 工作了30年，那他之前呢也当了5年的 FBI 的一个助理局长，就是非常重要的一个职位，他现在退休了，所以感谢他到我们的这个节目当中来给我们做一些介绍。So Tom, do you think the Iranian people finally will achieve their freedom this time?
I don't know. Maybe, maybe. I mean, we're all hoping that
Hmm.
it's going to change compared to what it had been during Obama's time or Biden's time, and nothing changing really.
Hmm.
The promises of U.S. support didn't materialize, and many Iranian protesters have already been killed in the past, but this time in the most recent protest, the estimates are huge. And I've seen some estimates as high, I think CBS News
Hmm.
saying it could be as high as 20,000 people murdered by the regime. So where they're getting their numbers, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that are either being killed or locked up by Iran for what they're doing. Now, the
Hmm.
question that I would have in all this is knowing how these kind of events occur and how history is made, I have to believe that CIA have very high sources in the regime and in the protest groups and are getting a lot of the information they need through that penetration. We
Sure.
just saw that with Venezuela and the information that the US was getting probably from their vice president, who is now the president.
Hmm.
And now we have a situation in Iran. Who is providing the information to US intelligence now? Because I think that it must be pretty significant in order for Trump to say, we're going to support the protesters and basically you wait and see. I think he already knows what he's going to do and
Hmm.
knows the kind of information that we need to do it.
Right, right. Well, that's the numbers is huge. 20,000 already this time.
That was an estimate by CBS News earlier today.
That's horrible. We've only talking about 2 weeks. Wow.
Right.
Wow. So yeah, Tom 就跟我们谈到，就是我问他说，伊朗人民这次会不会最终的得到自由啊？那他们就说还不知道，我们还要再看哈。那他说，不过也川普总统这次这样的一个发言说，Help is on its way，就是已经这个帮助正在来的路上，这已经是非常非常不一样的了哈。那也就是说，川普已经清楚我们要在做什么，下一步美国要怎么去做。那他说呢，在拜登期间、奥巴马期间，实际上伊朗人也一直在抗争，但是美国的所谓的帮助始终没有到达，或者说始终没有给伊朗人他们想得到自由、想要的这样的一个帮助，所以伊朗仍然是在这个神权统治之下。那他说呢，现在这个 CBS 的一个估计啊，到目前为止，伊朗的这些被杀的这些抗议民众啊，大约这个人数已经高达了2万人啊，这是我听说的最大的一个数字。Because yesterday I heard that there approximately about 6,000 people was killed, but today we have the new number is
Well,
22.
yeah, you had numbers earlier this morning. I was hearing 2,000. Then all of a sudden, later in the day, the numbers get estimated by CBS News and others that, well, maybe it's somewhere between 12 and 20,000.
Wow.
So we don't know where they're getting their information or where they're getting the numbers
Right,
or what the regime is putting out.
right, right,
If the regime was putting out that it was 2,000 and it's actually more than 12,
right,
we'll find out probably.
right. But at least it's over thousands.
Oh,
That's
absolutely. It
yeah,
has to
that's
be at least over 1,000.
Sure，要我们再讨论一点这个人数的问题啊，因为这个整个抗争才进行了2周哈。昨天我听到的一个数字呢是6000，那今天上午刚刚汤姆说呢，今天上午听到的一个数字呢是2000，那后来的 CBS 的一个估计大概是12000到2万。那但是这个数字大家就可以看到有个变化。那不过汤姆说，如果说伊朗政府方面说2000的话，那他肯定不止这个数字，所以我们基本上认定是几千人是肯定有的。那汤姆就说呢，另外这个 CIA 啊，他相信不管是在伊朗政府方面，还是伊朗抗议的方面，那都有人渗透进去，所以呢，基本上他可以拿到美国政府做决策需要的这样一个情报，那就是现在伊朗方面是非常焦灼的。So, Tom, what do you think the leader of Iran will he stay or will he go to Beijing or maybe Moscow?
Well,
Or,
supposedly he's been making plans to go to Moscow.
uh-huh.
So, I think it sounds like he's not going to stay long. If it really goes bad, he's going to leave the country,
Hmm.
which is what they want.
Right,
I mean, the protesters want, what the
right,
West wants. Everything is for him just to get out.
right. So do you think American will have some military involvement or some other way to try to help them? Because President Trump said help is on the way. What kind of
Well, I
help?
think they're exploring the possibility of that and what that might look like. So at
Right.
this point, I don't know if the decision has been made of what the help will look like. Will it
Mhm,
be military? Will it be economic? Will it be sanctions?
mhm,
Exactly what's going to happen.
mhm.
Um, we are getting information now from the country, from the protesters that we didn't used to get in previous years because of Starlink, that
Right,
many of them have been given access to Starlink devices
right.
so they could freely get out information of what's going on. And that's a new development. We didn't have Starlink back during
Before.
the Obama or Biden administrations.
Right. So, for the final result, how long it will take for us to know that? For a few days, a week, 2 weeks?
Good
What do you
question. Could be
hard
a few days, could be a few weeks. We'll see.
OK, all right，所以就问他说，那就是伊朗，我们怎么能够猜，就是知道说我们这个最后的结果是什么哈？因为美国现在我们还不知道美国会去用什么样的方式。这个 Trump 说 help 就是帮忙，他怎么帮？那就是 Tom 就说这个现在还不知道是军队进来，还是说用其他的什么样的方式，我们还要再看。那对于伊朗人来讲，对于西方来讲，对于美国来讲的，最起码的就是现任的这个哈梅内伊离开这个伊朗哈走人，那他或者是到莫斯科或者到北京，那不重要，重要的是他离开伊朗这个岗位哈，这是伊朗领袖的这个岗位，所以这是大概大家要共同想看到的一个结果。那么我问到他的这个时间问题啊，他说就是几天能知道结果，还是几周？他说这个也很难讲，我们要来继续再看。So people are just you can see from the social media, from the news, that people just cannot wait. We do not want to waste more time. We do not want to see more people was killed, and people are waiting for American to come to help, just like we help Venezuela and just help people of Iran get their freedom and get their country back. So hopefully at the end of this week, we can see some huge development. Do you
Yeah, I
think?
don't know what the timeline would be, whether it would be this week or another month. We don't know.
Hmm.
But I think that you know, the president has his whole national security team that deals with that region
Right,
working this problem and
right.
giving him options of what he could do, whether it
Right.
would be military or economic sanctions or some other way to do it. But I think that you have some pretty brilliant people in
Hmm.
the administration that are working on this solution,
Hmm.
and a number of pretty stupid people that are not in the administration criticizing just because it's Trump.
Hmm.
Well, it's Trump. It can't work. It won't be any good. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Well, right now, at that level, he's the only one that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And how about Israel? What do you think about the role of Israel going to play in this situation?
I don't know. I think that they're laying low. And, you didn't hear them say, stop the protest or we're going to intervene or anything, but you heard President Trump say it. So I think Israel, if I had to guess, and that's all it is my guess,
Mhm.
Israel is waiting to see what the president's going to do.
Okay, they're
So
going to.
I don't think they've made any
Mhm.
decision of what exactly they want to do or what they want the president to do. But I think at this point, I think they're waiting to see that, President Trump usually doesn't make promises he doesn't plan to keep.
Right,
And I think that for Israel, over the years being used to our past presidents, I think they're going to find that surprising to deal with, that Trump's going to do what Trump says he's going to do. And I
exactly.
think for now, they're more than happy to sit back and let him do it.
Right. And do you think if we decide to do something, either military or economic or whatever we decide to do, will Israel cooperate with us or help us to make the things happen?
I think they better.
Why you
I
say
don't
that?
think I don't think
Uh-huh.
the administration or the president are going to have much patience with Israel if they do anything which counteracts what we're trying to do.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
in a way, they're one of the biggest beneficiaries. They're the ones that have going against the Iranian regime for all these years.
Exactly.
So the fact that President Trump is in the process of dealing with it, that's more than they've gotten from any other president in recent times. And I think they're only too happy to accept that support.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, so我就问了这个 Tom，就说，这个事情当中，这个以色列扮演个什么角色哈？因为我们知道以色列跟伊朗，的这个矛盾也是由来已久啊。那在这个之前呢，Tom 就说关于川普总统要下的一个决定哈，他说，川普总统周围现在都是一些聪明人哈，这个整个的团队哈，从各个方面来给他建议。那我们知道今天上午他们这个整个国安团队才专门就伊朗问题召开了一个会议，所以呢，他们很有信心说他们会给他很好的建议。那当然会有一些比较笨的这些人，他们呢是会指责川普总统，指责川普的团队，因为他们的出发点是只要是川普做的，那都是不对的哈。所以呢，这个我们依然等待川普总统最后的一个决定啊。那另外对于以色列呢，Tom 的观点，他说这是我的猜想哈，因为并没有足够的情报来谈这个问题。那么以色列现在并没有任何大的动作，这是第一点。第二点呢，他们也在等待川普总统最后的一个决定。所以我接下来一个问题就是说，如果川普总统做某一个决定，那以色列会不会很高度的配合呢？这个时候汤姆的回答非常有意思，他说他们最好高度配合，因为川普总统也在某些情况下对以色列的这个耐心也有一点失去了，而对于伊朗的一个打击，实际上以色列是非常大的一个得益方，而到目前为止，以色列方面在川普总统方面所得到的这样支持跟帮助，是他们在任何美国其他总统身上都没有得到的，所以从这点上来讲呢，以色列也应该会跟川普总统来做一个非常高度的配合。All right, so well, thank you so much, Tom, and we'll see what we're gonna do, and maybe this couple of days we'll see the next step. And I remember you told me that you've been to Iraq, right? Not Iran. You've been to Iran before?
Been to Iraq several times.
You're right, but not
And in
Iran.
2003, when we invaded Iraq, I was the FBI's first on-scene commander
Right,
in Iraq. But
right,
I've never been to Iran.
right. Yeah. So do you have any idea that how difference between Iran and Iraq, or they're pretty similar?
But there should be a lot of difference. Historically, Iran was a Persian country,
Mm-hmm.
and historically, Iraq was an Arabic country.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of difference between them.
Right, yeah，所以我就问一下这个汤姆，因为他以前去过伊拉克还是伊朗，我记不清了。他说他几次去过伊拉克，就是美军跟伊拉克打仗的时候，他是 FBI 的负责人，到这个伊拉克战场的，实际上是这个公事哈。那他就说这个当然没有去过伊朗，那伊朗跟伊拉克的有很大的区别哈。那虽然我们都讲它两伊，但是区别很大，因为伊朗它是一个波斯国家，那伊拉克是个阿拉伯国家，所以这个里面区别很大。So if we at this time Iran regime has changed, what the world will change accordingly. What do you think if we Iran people got their freedom and changed their leadership?
Well, I think the world will probably take a wait and see to make sure that whatever's coming next, will be beneficial not just to Iran but to the world in terms of economic ability
Mhm.
and I guess stability in
Mhm.
that region and all of that. And I think that I think we'll just have to wait and see how
Okay,
supportive the rest of the world's going to be, depending on what they see the result will be if
right,
regime change actually takes place,
right,
what the new regime looks like, and how that will benefit the West.
right. And I heard that the prince is ready to go back to Iran. So, do you think he is it possible for him to establish his kingdom again?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how accepted that's going to be, or what the protesters in Iran are going to think of bringing back the Shah's son as the new regime,
Right.
basically bringing back the original regime that was displaced in 1975. I mean
Right.
79.
Uh-huh.
So that'll we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
OK OK，呀，所以我就问Tom，就是说呃，如果说这个新的伊朗，如果有个真的一个新政权上去了，这个政权的会对全世界产生怎么样的影响？那他们的意思就是我们要等着来看一看，如果真的是新政权上去了，那么这个政权它在这个世界范围内被接受的程度有多大？在伊朗被民众接受的这个程度有多大？哈，那另外也谈到了这个巴列维国王有没有可能回去重建这个伊朗王国呢？他们的观点就是还是要等着看一下，因为这个新政权的建立，它可能有一些选择，所以是不是这个国王的这样的一个系统是第一选择，我们还要再看。好，所以so we're gonna wait and see. Hopefully next time, next week, we're gonna see some huge development.
Yeah, see what you can do to make that happen. For the sake of our viewers, let's get this resolved by next Tuesday.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, all right. Okay, so another topic is about the case happened in Minnesota. The lady was killed, and her name is Good, and she's doing some, in my opinion, she has some wrongdoing, and that caused her death. There are so many people are just don't agree with that. So, what do you think? You know the case, right?
Well, I think, yeah, we all know the case from the videos we've seen and all that, but I think that, I would wait till there's more investigation to really determine it. I
Correct.
know that Christy Nome, the Secretary of DHS, immediately that day was saying that the ICE agent did the right thing and it
Hmm.
was justified and all that. And I think that that may be true.
Hmm.
Uh, my habit in these kind of cases has been let's really have an investigation, a fair investigation, and
Right,
let's see.
right.
And not just an investigation by the DHS secretary or ICE people or Border Patrol or other people from that department, but these kind of cases, normally in the past, when the FBI says we're conducting an investigation, that usually calms the situation down. They assume that there's going to be a fair, impartial
Hmm.
investigation, and people are willing usually to wait and see what the result's going to be.
Okay.
And more of that's going to depend on who was this woman really? Was she Antifa? Was she other, hired protester or agitator or troublemaker or
Hmm.
what? Or was she a model housewife just out for a drive? Let's wait and see
Hmm.
all the facts to be gathered and analyzed before, a final decision is made, at least on what happened.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. It's more like more fair, more through investigation. And
Right.
yeah, so people have different view. They have different because they see the different videos. So the different videos show the different truth, quote to quote. So there are some argument around there, but
Right.
the question that you mentioned, I think is very valuable, is who this lady really are, what kind of person she's really are, what kind of situation she has been involved before the incident. So this is very good. So you mentioned about the investigation, and I think you mean the independent investigation, right? Not from the Homeland Security, not from FBI, from some other institution to give this investigation.
Well, really, the lead agency in these kind of investigations is normally the FBI.
FBI, okay.
And in this case, whether they get any assistance from the state or local authorities, who
Hmm.
knows? They've been so uncooperative on every issue, we
Right,
don't know. But I
right.
think that's going to be the main thing here is what they learned from studying the films, interviewing the witnesses, and others that were at the scene when this was happening
Right.
was did she really try to run over the ICE agent with her car? Now
Hmm.
they keep saying, oh, she's unarmed and all of that.
Hmm.
Well, a car is a tremendous weapon.
Exactly.
And in the hands of someone who is not cooperative, and you already saw the video where one of the ICE agents was trying to open the door
Hmm.
and telling her to get out,
Right.
stop.
Right. Right.
Uh, Basically, she's resisting arrest just by continuing on. and
Right.
not stopping the engine and getting out of the car. So that
Hmm.
already tells you that she's not going to be real cooperative. And the
Hmm.
next question is, what will she do in terms of her resistance to
Hmm.
being arrested?
Hmm.
And when the other ICE agent gets in front of the car and she accelerates toward him,
Right.
now what? So we need to have that part of this
Hmm.
really analyzed and witnesses really questioned about what did they see, what happened,
Right.
and what occurred from that point on.
Right. Thank you so much. You give us a very professional point of view of this case. Thank you so much, Tom. I'll translate this part to the audience. So 我问到了这个 Tom，就是明尼苏达的那个案子，就是那个女的被打死的案子。那他给出的这个看法，我觉得很 professional。但他说呢，这个案子首先他认为要更多的一个。更全面的一个调查出来。那他谈到说，这个国土安全部长 Norm 呢，其实是第一时间他就出来说，这个探员是自卫的，所以没有问题。那Tom 的个人他是同意他这个观点的，就从他自己看的这些视频资料上来看。但是呢，以他作为 FBI 的一个长期的这样一个资深的官员来看呢，这样的案子因为有争议，所以呢，最好有个独立调查。那当然之后也解释说，这个独立调查通常是 FBI 来进行。那当然 FBI 可能会跟这个当地的这些警局合作，这个是看具体的案子啊。那这个调查本身的主导机关，不应该是国土安全部哈，应该是 FBI。那这是很清楚，这是调查的第一部分，当时到底发生了什么，这是一点。第二点呢，也要调查说这个被杀的叫 Good 这个女性，她当时为什么来到这个现场，她的背景是什么？啊，这个背景是她是一个非常积极的活动分子啊，她还是一个很安静的，就是平常的家庭主妇，只是偶尔不小心路过那个地方啊，这些都是需要详细调查的。所以这个调查分两方面，一方面就是国土安全部的这个方面，另一方面就是这个调查，就是这个 Good 本身是一个什么样的人。啊，这是他谈到的一个很重要的一个概念啊。那另外，他也讲到，当时在这个现场里面有一个很重要的情节，就是当时这个 Norm 把就是这个 Good 把这个车停在中间的时候，其实已经有一个探员走到他的车前，让他下车。那这个实际上已经就开始这个执法了哈。那他当时就是拒绝这样的一个指示的哈。那另外还有人说他手上没有武器，但是呢，实际上他开的这个车2吨重的车本身就可以作为一个杀人武器来考虑的，而且这个也不是没有先例。所以呢，他也谈到说，在这个之前，他也看到他就是这个 Good 加速冲向了一个警员，这个都是我们看到的事情。不过，Tom 就是说呢，总的来讲，他还是希望最后看到一个相对独立的调查出来，对这个案子的整个下一个判断。但是他个人的判断已经有了。啊，所以他所说的这个独立调查判断，只是说他的一个作为 FBI 的资深的探员的一个职业习惯来谈到的这个问题。So I think I agree with you. If we have independent investigation, I think it's going to be much better, and then people will buy this final result or final conclusion, right?
In the past, back for 10 years, I was CNN senior law enforcement
Sure.
contributor
Uh-huh.
after I retired from the FBI.
Uh-huh.
And time after time, I made comments that when a very tense situation was happening in some community, police
Mhm.
officer shot and killed somebody,
Mhm.
uh, and the public was up in arms and the protesters were out. And normally in those days, and I commented over and over about this, when the FBI publicly stated, okay, we've opened an investigation. Our agents are going to look at whether anybody's civil rights were violated
Mhm.
or excessive force was used. And as soon as the FBI said they were opening an investigation, peace fell on the community. People
Uh-huh.
were said, well, if the FBI is going to do that, they'll be fair and they're
Uh-huh.
professional and they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
So so that worked for many years. Now that's before Director Comey and his successors politicized the FBI so much under Trump. the
Mm-hmm.
Russiagate investigation and some of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think in many ways it's going to be up to the FBI to restore its reputation of not just fairness, but professionalism. That's the
Mm-hmm.
problem in a case like this. You have a citizen killed by an agent,
Mm-hmm.
and who can investigate that? You can't just have the local PTA school district
Mm-hmm.
do it. So they have to be people that are knowledgeable, know
Right.
what the training is for these officers, take a
Mm-hmm.
look at the evidence and know what the behavior was on
Mm-hmm.
the part of the victim in this case. And that's the level of professionalism that comes from expertise, that comes from experience in
Right.
working sensitive cases for many years.
Right.
And in this country, the FBI is the best at doing that if
Right.
they do it fairly, if they're not controlled by politics or, like under Obama or
Mm.
Biden or any of that. And I think in this case, they're going to be allowed to do it fairly,
Sure.
whether the people like the outcome or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good chance they're not, but they need to do their investigation, and the people need to stand by while this happens.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Very important. Tom 就强调，就是说他在我们刚才谈到，就是 FBI 要进来调查哈。那 Tom 就说呢，实际上就是我的问题就是，是不是这个调查大家最后都会比较这个接受这个 FBI 最后的一个调查结果哈。那现在显然是有一些人不接受这个国土安全部和其他的一些人的观点，他们认为这个枪杀这个 Good 是错误的哈。那Tom 就谈到了在 CNN 10年前，他就是做这个专业的评论员哈，就特别是就司法方面的专业评论员，他就说，通常像在那个时候啊，就是如果有警察，比如说他这个在执行任务当中，就是把这个对方打死了这样的一个情况出来，那这个社区的人有的时候就会有一些的意见哈。那通常FBI 只要开始调查，好，那这个一些各种各样的议论就会平息下来。那原因是大家对 FBI 的这个专业水平和公正性是非常相信的，所以基本上任何有争议的案子，只要 FBI 说我们介入调查了，那这个就基本上争论就基本上会平息了。那么这个呢，是在 Comey 这些人担任FBI 局长之前呢，FBI 的这个威望和他们的专业水准是得到全社会公认的。那但是呢，这个 Comey 和Christopher Wray 这些人当了这个局长之后呢，他们很明显在用 FBI 作为一种政治工具来对政治对手做动作哈。那所以呢，FBI 的这种信任度是在民间有所下降，所以很重要的一件事情是要恢复 FBI 的这样的一个信任度。这个不仅仅是一个就是如何公正的来进行调查的问题，那另外呢，同样重要的就是你要有一种专业的水平来调查这种案子，这个不是一般的机构去可以做的哈，它需要有这种专业能力，需要有长期的经验。那这个呢是 FBI 是就是独有的这样一个特别好的和最强劲的这样一个能力来做这样的一件事情，所以可能 FBI 的这个调查应该会给出一个比较正确的结论。So talk about the time frame. So if FBI get involved this case, in your opinion, how long the report can release if they are put this on their first priority?
Well, it depends how they do it. If they normally in a case like this, they would want to bring in FBI agents that are neutral and that are from other cities, not
Right.
involved in working day to day with Minneapolis or Minnesota authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so bring in agents that are knowledgeable, experienced, and neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And that could take time. It'll take time to get them there,
Right.
have them travel. They have to figure out where they're going to house them since the
Mm-hmm.
protesters are trying to figure out where ICE and everybody, what hotels they're in, and attack them in the hotels. So
Right.
that'll be very difficult for agents to arrive and stay anonymous while they conduct investigation. And of course, once they start doing interviews
Mm-hmm.
and the physical search of the street and the videos and everything else that comes up in this case,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take time. So it could be weeks at least.
OK，OK，我问 Tom 就说，如果开始调查这个大概需要多长时间哈？那最终他刚才给这个时间呢是大概是几周，最少是要几周的，因为他要找到这些来调查的特工，那这些特工基本上不会是在当地找，一定是在外地，那么有经验的。另外，这些特工到明尼苏达这个地方，他们住在哪里也是需要很好的去安排的，因为现在在明尼苏达州的一个情况，他们很可能住的地方很快就被别人知道了哈，所以这个。一系列的安排，那最后呢，他们要去面见，就是见面这些当时目击者等等哈，把所有线索放在一起进行判断和推断哈。那基本上他说大概至少要几周。So the last question, Tom, I'd like to ask you is, when the official are doing their job, some people come out and try to stop them physically, verbally. Are they illegal to do so?
Yeah,
Or,
they need to be arrested. And I think that if I would have one criticism among many of how the administration is handling this, I
right,
think the fact that they let the mayor come out and open his big mouth, and the governor and all of them are basically encouraging the
right,
protesters to actually become rioters, to become vigilantes, to say that what the government's doing is improper or illegal and they need to fight back.
mhm,
Um, and they need to be arrested. And I think I would advocate arresting the mayor and the governor if they keep that language up, encouraging people to obstruct the investigation that ICE is lawfully allowed to do. And one of the excuses that I would use is all of these officials, the mayor, the governor,
mhm,
have they swear an oath to the Constitution. When
right,
they get sworn in, pretty much if you listen to the swearing in ceremonies of federal, state, local officials, police officials, FBI agents, whoever it might be, it's very similar. I pledge to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
right.
And if they're encouraging people to violate the Constitution, obstruct constitutional investigations, they should be arrested for that. And I don't care if that's so unusual and who could imagine doing something, do it. And
Thank,
and that I think will go a long way to shut up some of the other big mouth politicians like Governor Newsom in
right,
California or Pritzker in Illinois or some of these other ones. They need to be shown they can't obstruct the federal government. They swore an oath to the Constitution.
right,
The
right,
Constitution gives the federal government supreme authority in these cases. It's called the Supremacy Clause for a reason,
thank,
that if federal law enforcement is out there working and they call for a backup because they're being put in danger, and these guys tell the police don't go,
yeah.
then they should be charged. They should be arrested and charged for that.
Thank you so much, Tom, for pointing out that, which is so important. So this lead to my next question, or I don't think we're going to have an answer for this question, but I want to ask, where is Palm Bundy? Where is she? Why doesn't she do her job?
I don't, it's a good question. Where is she? And where's President Trump? They're dispatching another 1 or 2 thousand agents to
Right,
Minnesota to
right,
protect and defend the
right,
agents that are already there.
right,
But even while they do that, you're just setting up them also to be in these confrontations, to be
right,
attacked, to
right,
be maybe shot at or
right, right,
have
right,
things thrown at them. And I think that really the politicians that are encouraging
right.
this kind of not just resistance, but
This
actually confrontation and
confrontation.
fighting with
Yeah,
federal authorities,
right,
they need to be arrested,
right.
period.
Exactly, exactly. And I do believe this is a job of Pam Bondi.
Or the president, just give the orders. Yeah, Pam Bondi as well.
So, okay, so
Give
that's the
the
first.
orders that you want. If the mayor doesn't shut up and if the governor doesn't, arrest them.
Yeah. So,
Now, the mayor may or may not have enough responsibility for all of the fraud over the last, 6 or 8 years, but the governor certainly does. So
Right.
he's already in a situation where he
Right.
should be
Right.
he should be going to jail for the
Right.
fraud just by
Right.
itself.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree.
But
So,
it comes a time, having been, even when I was a street police officer, having been in front of demonstrators,
mhm,
and we had very in the police department I was on, we had cheap plastic helmets and
mhm,
all of that,
mhm.
and carried batons, nightsticks. And even then, you looked at it, if the protesters and rioters were out there and knew that they were going to get arrested,
Right.
um, and really arrested, not this phony arrest by the locals,
Right.
um, it would be a different story. And I think that this situation, in fairness to the police and in fairness to ICE and Border Patrol and the other officers, DHS, the other officers out there,
Mhm.
they're being set up to get
Right.
hurt or maybe killed.
Right.
And not just the local politicians, but the president and the attorney general need
Mhm.
to announce no more. It's over.
I think I agree. And I think President Trump already said many times that we cannot let this happen.
No,
And
but you can't. One thing you learn, as a street cop, I learned this even before becoming an FBI agent.
right.
Don't bluff. If you're in a situation, you don't say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and do
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Enough. They've already announced it. You don't need to keep threatening it.
嗯哼嗯哼，Thank you so much. I'll translate this part. It's so important. 所以我就问 Tom，就说你现在这些人在那儿可以说是闹事，在阻拦联邦的这个官员在做他们的工作，这个动作本身是不是就是违法的？那 Tom 说这个肯定是违法的哈，这个非常明确的哈。那另外，Tom 就讲出了他自己的一个观点，那我认为非常有价值啊，很重要。他说，实际上。你阻挡联邦官员的执法，阻挡这些警员的执法，就应该被抓起来，就这么简单。那因为 Tom 他也做过警察，那他做过这个联邦探员哈。另外他说呢，就是明尼苏达州的市长和明尼苏达这个明尼阿波利斯市的市长和明尼苏达州的州长 Walz，他们是一而再再而三的出来，实际上是鼓励大家对抗这个联邦的这些探员。那这个动作本身也是违法的。那所以我就问他说，这个Tom 就说，像他们才就是这样的一个行为，就实际上应该立刻被抓起来的啊，这个就是没有什么问题，没有什么好问的。所以我就在问他说，那这就是我的问题，那邦迪在什么地方啊？我们的司法部长在哪里？那你这个市长或者州长这种严重的违法的言论，那有这样的情况，为什么不去抓？那汤姆说这是个很好的问题，所以我们实际上是对这个司法部长表示不满。那汤姆也讲了一个很重要的事情，他说这些所有的民选官员、市长、州长，包括这些警察局长等等，他们在宣誓的时候是要效忠美国的宪法的。那美国的宪法呢，你是给予联邦的这个探员和联邦的这些官员行使行政的权利，所以。当这些人宣布过执行宪法，而在现实当中，他们又鼓励人们去阻挡这些官员实施他们宪法赋予权利的时候，那这帮就是民选官员、市长、州长就已经违法了，就应该被抓起来。这个是非常明显的一个事情。可是我们到现在还是看不到任何的逮捕。那另外，Tom 也谈到，就是说，这个司法部又增派了1000到2000名的这个官员。前往这个明尼苏达州来去解决这个问题。那他们的意思是你派这些人过去，实际上这些人还会面对这些抵抗者的这样的一些羞辱和阻拦的，所以必须要把他们给抓起来。那这是毫无疑问。另外他说，就是作为以前。当过警察的一个经验，他说你很重要的是，就是面对这些像抗议啊，有一些这种流氓活动的时候，你不是要跟他们再三的去讲，而是你立刻要行动。如果你要抓，你立刻就抓，而不是一直在那说，如果你们再往前一步，我就要抓你，那个是没有用的，是你要有具体的动作的。好，所以他也是感到其实蛮困惑的，为什么到现在没有这种抓捕的行为？So yeah, I agree with you. We're in the same page. I do believe that the DOJ have not done the job that they should do, have not showed the power that they should show the power, authority, and people just I don't know what happened Penn Bundy. I don't know what happened this DOJ. It's kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
disappointed too. And I think to me, it looks like they're letting politics interfere. Oh, we might not get the vote or we might not get the support or whatever. No, you protect your people. You
Right.
put police officers out there,
Right.
or ICE or Homeland Security, anybody, you put law
Right.
enforcement in
Right.
harm's way, you need to protect them. You
Right.
need to take action if somebody tries to obstruct what they do or
Exactly.
physically hurt them or
Right.
kill them even. You need
Right.
to stop that and not allow it. It's gone on long enough. And I
Right.
think that, you know, back in 2020, after the riots that went on, even in Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
I thought Trump didn't do enough then to put an
Mm-hmm.
end to it.
Mm-hmm.
In Minnesota, they were attacking a federal courthouse, they
Mm-hmm.
were attacking a police station and took it over. The
Mm-hmm.
damage that they were doing in the community and
Mm-hmm.
to physically hurt or kill citizens at that
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that it was too much even then. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that the president at that time should have done more to put a
Mm-hmm.
stop to it,
Mm-hmm.
period. And I
Right.
think now this has gone on long enough, especially in Minneapolis.
Right, right, right. I agree, I agree. 对，所以他们就是讲，司法部做的严重的是不够的。他说你一定要在这个时候出来保护你的执法者啊，这是一个很基本的这个问题。然后他也谈到，在2020年，实际上明尼苏达也是闹事闹得很厉害，当时他们都去砸了这个法院。那他们的意思就是，他实际上都觉得当时川普总统做的都不够，就是对他们的这个惩罚不够严厉啊。然后他就说，这个司法部现在看起来是非常就是畏手畏脚，是不是有什么担心跟害怕，还是特怕得不到选票，还是怎么样？但是不应该有，如果他们有这样的考虑，这是不应该的，因为你的责任，你要保护你的探员，你要保护你的宪法，你要保护你的这个执法权啊，这个我也是非常赞同的。Right. So, Tom, we have another topic today. I think it's very important. Is about Obama. There is a report from George. George is he was advisor of Trump. Let's see. Yeah, Trump 2016 campaign. He was a advisor. And he said that the FBI, DOJ, DNI, and CIA are looking at 10-year government conspiracy case eyes on Regal charges, treating the Democrat Party and the left as a criminal organizations, right large. So it's going to involve Obama, Comey, and Brennan. So the Regal charge, I know that you are very familiar with the Regal charge. And do you think the Regal charge is about right to their behave?
Oh, absolutely. RICO stands for Racketeer Influenced Corrupt Organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the FBI's principal tool in investigating and basically dramatically reducing the power of the American mafia and
Mm-hmm.
then other organizations, other criminal groups as well. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what the RICO statute allows is that what's going on with Obama and with these others, going back to when Obama was president, is they've been engaged in a conspiracy. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's a conspiracy, the statute of limitations does not run out on these cases. So
Mm-hmm.
they could still be charged criminally. And RICO has severe penalties, financial and jail time for
Mm-hmm.
violating it. And I think, yeah, there, from what we hear, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like there's a massive investigation. Of course, to go through all of that evidence and all of that time takes
Mm-hmm.
time. Um, and we'll see, and hopefully they'll use it. But the efforts that were made, not just Obama, but looking at Comey, director of the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
and the others that followed him. Christopher Wray is another example that these individuals politicized the Department of Justice
Mm-hmm.
and severely hurt the reputation of the FBI as I mentioned years ago, if there was going to be a riot and DOJ or the FBI announced that the FBI is coming, they've opened a civil rights case, that
mm,
was enough to quell the riot. It was
mm,
enough to keep the people quiet and say, okay, we trust the FBI, we'll wait. But
right.
thanks to these guys, especially Comey and Wray,
Mm-hmm.
they have helped to destroy the credibility of the FBI
Mm,
for 10 years. And I would like to see consequences, accountability for what they did to the most important law enforcement agency in the world.
right.
And second to none. And I've been all over the world, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
from the time that I was an assistant director, that there's no substitute for having that kind of reputation when you're dealing with governments in the United States or all over the world.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yeah. 所以就是我问他就第二个问题呢，现在我们看到昨天哈一个最新的消息，大概在佛罗里达有一个大的陪审团，那这个陪审团呢，基本上可能会对这个奥巴马也好，或者是 Comey，或者是布伦南哈，对于川普总统的这个2016年的这样一个通俄门的陷害啊，他可以把它考虑成为这个叫做 Regal Charge。Regal 法案呢，就是一个黑帮组织有组织犯罪的这个法案。那实际上他们的就是这个大陪审团，也许考量是吧，整个民主党都要作为这样的一个犯罪组织来进行提诉。啊，那在这个当中呢，最重要的几个人就是奥巴马，我刚才讲的这几个人。那Tom 呢，他实际上对这个 Regal 法案呢是非常熟悉的，因为他有一段时间就是专门负责这些打击黑帮的活动，在这个 FBI 里面哈。那所以他认为，对于奥巴马和民主党这些人的行为，用 Regal 来 charge 他们，来就是起诉他们是非常合适的。那这个 Regal 法案，第一个它是没有追诉期的，所以一直可以追溯到他们。另外呢，他的惩罚也是非常严厉的哈，不管是经济惩罚还是监狱的惩罚。那他说，汤姆就说呢，这些人所做的事情足够起诉，也应该足够可以定罪。那么他也是希望能够看到他们，最终得到惩罚哈。你做了这些坏事就应该得到惩罚。那其中他也谈到说，这个 FBI 的这两个局长哈，一个是 Comey，一个是 Chris Wray，他们对 FBI 的这个破坏之严重啊，是简直难以想象。因为 FBI 呢是在全世界最有这个威望的这样一个机构哈，就是他走过全世界很多的地方哈。那Comey 和这些 Christopher Wray，他们因为在 FBI 把 FBI 作为一个政治工具的使用，所以呢，他们对 FBI 整个的在情报界的这个声望的毁坏啊是非常巨大的，所以他希望看到这些人得到一个应有的惩罚。So hopefully that we will see that happen and they will be put into the prison as they should.
Agree.
Yeah, thank you. And then also we're talking about the huge um scandal. Um we see that in Minnesota again, the Somalia community. They have taken so much money from taxpayers. And also, the same thing happened in Ohio. And same thing happened in some other states. And I just saw a number that from Elon Musk. He said the total scale of fraud amount to approximately 10% of the federal budget. That is huge. That it's
Right.
not only Somalia community, some other community, some NGOs. So,
Sure.
is that the big numbers surprise you, or
No,
why?
not at
It
all.
surprised me though. Okay, so why you because you already know that?
Yeah, I've already been aware for many years of the level of fraud that goes on against the government, the level of um, fraud lately and Democrats do it, Republicans do it, but some places are worse than ever. And what's gone on in Minnesota is clearly where
Hmm.
you have a group capitalize on the freedom that they've had to engage in criminal activity, the Somali community.
Hmm.
And the fact that after 10 years plus of living in Minneapolis, very small percentage of them assimilated and became Americans and respectful of American law. We just see them acting like they're still in Somalia
Mm-hmm.
and anything they can steal is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So do you think we have opportunity to solve the problem?
I think so.
Okay, from
If we
big.
follow through, if the government follows through,
Mm-hmm.
um, and again, starting at the top, starting with the governor, who absolutely has been aware that this was going on and helped support it.
Oh, yeah.
Elon Omar is another one. They
Mm-hmm.
need to finally take her out, get
Right.
her charged with the fraud that she's been involved in and some other things, the assistance that she's provided the criminals in her community.
Right.
That needs to be addressed. And I think that everybody's been afraid to touch her. Oh, she's a black woman, she's an African woman,
So
no,
what?
she's a crook,
Yeah,
period.
yeah,
That's enough.
I know. So yeah, talk about that. I'm just thinking about FBI. Why can FBI arrest her? She married to her brother.
In order for that to happen, to make arrest in that case, the Department of Justice has to support that. So the FBI, you can make the arrest if a bank robbery happens right in front of you or something. That's one thing. But in
Hmm.
this case, where you have this systemic fraud that may have happened in terms of her getting married or getting immigration status or any
Right,
of that,
right.
that requires the Department of Justice. These cases have been referred to DOJ. But somewhere in DOJ, they have to be willing to bring the charges, to indict her, prosecute her, and get this over with.
I remember, Tom, President Trump had said that we need to deport her, and
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
get the investigation, support the investigation to gather the evidence and see if that's necessary. And in
Right,
order for that to happen, then the evidence would have to be substantial to remove her citizenship. So
right.
she's no longer an American citizen. She's an immigrant from Somalia who's been committing fraud
Hmm.
against the American people. Time to
Hmm.
go. That's
Right,
period. Get rid of
right.
her.
Right. Yeah，所以我跟汤姆就谈到，就是现在就是还有另外一个问题，就是关于贪污的问题啊。那索马里的这些社区啊，这个在明尼苏达的贪污呢，这是几十亿的在贪污。那同样的情况也发生在俄亥俄地区的索马里的社区里面，也是几乎是完全一样的一个情况。那另外呢，伊朗马斯克最近就是说，实际上，索马里社区只是一个小的影子。那我们看到很多这个非政府组织 NGO 也是大量的贪污。那这个贪污的总数啊，它的估计就是美国每年联邦的这个 budget。预算的10%，这个可是天文数字啊！所以我就问这个汤姆说：“你是不是很惊讶，这么大的一个数字都被贪污了？”汤姆说他其实并不惊讶，因为他知道这些贪污的这个规模有多大哈。那另外呢，就谈到的是索马里这个社区的这些人，他这些人移民到美国，在这待了10年、20年，可是他们很多人的行为模式跟在索马里是一样的，能偷就偷，能抢就抢。完全没有改变，所以他把美国当成了索马里，那当然他的这种贪污的规模是巨大的。那另外呢，民主党方面对他们就是其实完全知道的，就是比如讲这个州长。这个沃兹州长，他对索马里社区在他们那的大型贪污，他绝对不是不知道，完全知道的。那么在这个情况下，那 Tom 再次强调，这个需要有这个司法最终的一个动作出来该逮捕的逮捕，该起诉的起诉。那就是实际上我们还是有谈到了这个。就是司法部哈，似乎这个工作不力。So we see that，我跟他讲的就是，那 FBI 为什么不抓他？这个 FBI 这个必须要这个司法部的批准。现在这个案子已经到司法部，所以说对于这个奥马尔，我们讲到这个奥马尔哈，他也是在索马里社区有很多犯罪的这种嫌疑的哈，对他的一个驱逐或者是逮捕呢，是要这个司法部往下走，所以看起来这个事情目前是卡在司法部。So we know that we have a new FBI director, right? Co-director, a new person.
Director, yeah. Cash Patel's the director.
Cash Patel is director, and Dan Bongino just left, and a
Yeah.
new guy
Well,
coming.
those are subordinates, deputy director,
Right.
other people under the director, but the director is the boss.
Okay. So these people are not that important. That they're important, but
But
they're
yeah,
not
it still takes the director and recommendations to the Department of Justice, and the
sure.
Department of Justice making the giving the authority to them to make arrests in a case like this.
Sure, sure. And also, we heard that they have another a duty AG assistant Pembondi to deal with the case in Minnesota. Do you
Yeah, creating a specialty position for the fraud cases that are going in there.
right,
Normally, those cases would be investigated by, the financial crime section
right.
of the Criminal Investigative Division
Uh-huh.
of the FBI at FBI headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
But now, everything's come to we have to have a special person here and a special person there. Well, that's fine.
Okay.
But now that you get somebody in that position
Mm-hmm.
and they start gathering the evidence against whoever they gather it against, do
Mm-hmm.
something.
Uh-huh. Well, probably it's not fair for me to say that they're not doing their job. Maybe they just kind of slow, kind of
But
too
these cases would be
take time.
time consuming to go
Right.
through the records, to gather the evidence, to interview people, to get their statements,
Uh-huh.
um, testify against whoever in the grand jury, all of that. It
Right.
takes a lot of time.
Right.
Normally, these cases would take a couple of years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
Yeah,
That's a long,
we want justice right now. Let's go, hurry up.
yeah, we'll do that.
There used to be an expression, go
Uh-huh.
stand by that tree. There's going to be a hanging.
Exactly. Exactly.
And doesn't work that fast.
Right, right. So we need to have some patience for yeah, waiting for
Well,
the
the
result.
patience needs to be um, justified by the
Hmm.
result.
Hmm.
But what
Right,
we've seen now for a couple of years is people are told, be patient, nothing's happening.
right.
There's no accountability, there's no arrest. So that kind of thing can't happen. And we've seen that too many times in the past, even during the Trump administration,
Mhm.
much less other administrations. We can't have that. We
Right,
have to have justice.
right.
We
I
haven't had justice in a long time.
I totally agree with you about this part. Yeah. So 我就是跟他，我们还是在谈到，就是是不是他们动作太慢了，到现在，就是没有看到我们想看到的这些事情。那他们就说呢，那一方面当然所有的这些事是需要时间来做哈。那比如说现在这个司法部呢就有另外的一个副部长哈，新提的一个就是可以说特别事务这个副部长。来处理这些明尼苏达的这些贪污的案子啊。那当然，这个汤姆说呢，原来这种案子其实是可以在 FBI 的一个特别的金融腐败局来处理的，但是现在似乎他们这个做法改变了哈。那但是呢，就是从这个耐心和结果来看，这个事情是互相在转化的。如果你有足够的结果出来，大家的耐心也就会长一点。那你始终需要耐心，但是没有结果出来，恐怕这也是不可以这样子。那他们就是说呢，我们一直在看到我就需要有耐心的这样一些说法，但是呢，在耐心的同时，我们需要有这个结果。我们之前就经历过很多，我们很有耐心，到最后没有结果，这个是不可以的。那我们必须要看到最后这样的你做一个就是违法的事情，你一定要承担违法的结果，这是我们必须要看到的事情。Thank you, Tom, for pointing out that. The last question, maybe just a short question. The House Overseas Committee is now moving to hold Bill Clinton in contempt of Congress after he refused to testify in Epstein investigation. So, what is going to happen next?
Well,
Seems
what should happen is he should be arrested and put in jail,
another,
because that's what the Biden administration did with
yeah,
Peter Navarro and
right,
Steve Bannon and these other ones. If they didn't cooperate with a
uh-huh,
congressional subpoena, they went
uh-huh,
to jail.
right,
And that's what happened. All of this, no one's above the law and everything. Uh, yeah, Bill and Hillary need to go to jail if they don't cooperate and don't allow the subpoenas to bring them in to testify.
right,
And I would have no patience with them either. So
right.
enough of this.
I know. So do we have the guts to do so? We need to do so. This is our job, right? This is DOJ's job. This
Well,
is,
that would come from, I think, the president telling Comer and the committee people in Congress, take action. If they don't come in, do to them what you did to to Republicans
yeah,
5 years ago.
right. I agree. I agree. So we'll wait and see what they're going to do. As a
I
citizen,
remember back in the campaign for 2016,
uh-huh.
some of the Trump rallies where all of this information came out about Hillary destroying evidence, smashing her BlackBerry, doing all this kind of thing. And people at the rallies, here's Trump up at the podium, and people in the audience are screaming, lock her up,
Wait a
lock her
minute.
up.
Yeah,
So
right.
Trump knew even back then the sentiment was that she shouldn't be allowed to break the law
Mm-hmm.
that blatantly, that extreme.
Right.
And when it was all over, she was, and she did. So I think that, again, President Trump needs to stop bluffing and
Mm-hmm.
start holding people accountability like he promised.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. We need to see that. We need to see
Agree.
that. This is another way for us to keep the law and order.
Agree.
Yeah, we stop them to destroy the law and order. On the other hand, we have to hold law and order in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah，所以我最后就问他，就是现在克林顿，比尔克林顿哈，他也就是又拒绝到国会去出席听证，是因为爱泼斯坦的事情。那现在国会呢，就给他一个叫做藐视国会这样的一个起诉啊，因为这个起诉它是一个刑事的事情了，所以我就问 Tom 就说，国会如果给他这个藐视国会的这样一个起诉，下一步是什么？他说应该把他抓起来的，因为当时 Peter Navarro 或者是这个班农的都是因为不愿意到国会作证，所以就被投入大牢。那现在比尔·克林顿也同样的如此，那为什么他不能被抓起来？他不能被投入大牢？因为我们都是在用一样的一个系统。那是这样子的。那 Tom 就说呢，我们希望就是能看到这样的一个事情啊，在这个事情上，如果再没有行动，我们也就有点要失去耐心啊。他谈到就是2016年的时候，当时希拉里·克林顿他做了很多的这个违法的事情已经曝光了，比如说他把政府给他的这个蓝莓手机整个砸碎，因为他不想让里面的一些信息暴露啊。那这个本身就是一个严重的犯罪的，这个刑事罪。那在这个川普总统的这个 rally 上面，很多人就讲到希拉里·克林顿的名字，就是 lock her up，意思就是把她抓起来。好，那到最后什么也没有发生，所以我们不希望这个事情再度的出现，我们希望我们的这个司法部能够站出来，那川普总统能够更加强硬哈对这些人。那就是谈到就是我们讲 law and order 法律跟秩序，一方面我们要打击那些破坏法律和秩序的人，那另一方面我们也要用我们的行动来严肃法律和秩序。好，Yeah, Tom, I totally agree with you. Law and order is essential and the basic of our country. And I see there is in Minnesota, for example, they're just encouraged just not follow law and order, just
Right.
against law and order. And to
Right.
me, this is so similar. It's just like a cultural revolution. When the first period of cultural revolution, some people just encourage some bad guys just destroy everything in the society and make mass of the society. And then they can come out and take control and go into power. This is their playbook.
Right.
So I think we need to do something, just arrest somebody. Start with that.
Okay. Good
Okay.
start.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, Tom. So I'll see next week and see if anything have some big change, especially something in Iran.
We'll see.
Yeah,
A lot can happen.
yeah, right. Okay, and thank you so much, Tom.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
some other. Let me take a look if we have some people have some questions. Let's see. Oh, people say hi to you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much, Tom. And the other Chi said, if Tim Walz become vice president, it's just unbelievable, just unimaginable. So scary when we think about that.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she said that there are so many shortcuts in American system. And it seems like the law is for the normal people, not for the people in power. And this is not right. This is not right. He said, thank to Nick Shirley. If not him, we won't know the bad things happen in Minnesota. So,
Right.
yeah, the good thing is we have lots of Nick Shirleys in America. This is a regular people, and they're doing their job, their duty as American citizens. So this is a good part of our country.
Right.
All right.
It is.
Thank you so
Well,
much,
thank you
Tom.
very much. And I'll see you
Oh,
next Tuesday.
yeah. See you next Tuesday. Thank you.